It's late. You tell yourself it's just one more check. You open the app, the little dot glows on the map, and for a second, your shoulders drop. They are exactly where they said they would be. But the feeling in your chest remains. The unease that made you reach for the phone is still there, and you already know you'll check again in 20 minutes. You likely have a justification ready, a feeling that something was off or a simple need to be sure. This ritual functions as a behavioral trap. It offers a fleeting moment of relief that masks the persistent absence of security. This cycle highlights the difference between relief and security. Relief is surviving a perceived threat. Security is a baseline where scanning feels unnecessary. Reaching for the app provides relief, but erodes long-term security. The brief calm gets smaller every time, while fear grows more demanding. Trust is a muscle built through the capacity to sit with the unknown.
Every time you use a screen to bypass that discomfort, you skip the rep required to make the muscle stronger. This constant surveillance trains the nervous system to remain on high alert. Eventually, the phone stops being a source of information and starts functioning as a psychological cage. The impulse to search for answers on a screen typically begins with an internal shift, a sudden, sharp awareness of vulnerability that precedes any real-world evidence. This feeling is the signature of anxious attachment, a pattern of relating to others that roughly 1 in 5 adults carries. Psychologists often find the roots of this pattern in childhood environments, where a caregiver's attention was unpredictable, warm and present one day, then inexplicably distant the next. To navigate that uncertainty, a child often learns to monitor their environment with extreme precision, becoming an expert at detecting microscopic shifts in a room's emotional temperature. That same survival radar remains active into adulthood. Today, it is recalibrated to monitor a partner's digital presence for the same signs of distance. This habit of surveillance functions as a protective mechanism. It is a strategy used by a nervous system that learned early on that safety requires constant vigilance to avoid being left behind. To see how this affects modern couples, researchers tracked the relationship habits of over 300 young adults for 2 years. The data revealed that the act of looking at a screen didn't predict relationship failure. As this graph shows, the damage was driven by the insecurity and jealousy that prompted the looking in the first place. This creates a suffocating feedback loop. When a person feels constantly watched, they pull back instinctively to find space, not because they are hiding something, but because they need to breathe. Those delays in communication, a late text or a quiet evening, are often a reaction to being policed. Yet, to the anxious partner, they look like evidence that their worst fears are coming true. By attempting to track love into staying, the anxious partner accidentally creates the very dynamic that pushes love away. Maya was in a relationship with a partner who was steady and loyal, yet she spent her nights refreshing his location map. One evening, she noticed she had refreshed the map 11 times while her partner was at the gym, despite him doing exactly what he said he'd be doing. This moment clarified that her panic was triggered by her own struggle to hold the feeling of not knowing, rather than anything her partner was actually doing. Accepting that the fear belongs to you and that more information cannot fix it is how you begin to reclaim your power. Peace is downstream of the ability to tolerate uncertainty. Because of this, no amount of location sharing or forced transparency will ever feel like enough. You bulb that capacity by widening the gap between the urge and the action. When the impulse to check rises, you stop. You name the feeling. I'm scared, and the fear wants me to check the phone. Then you wait for 2 minutes. You let the discomfort exist without trying to solve it. You breathe through the peak of the anxiety and wait for it to subside on its own. This pause is the essential exercise. It teaches your nervous system that you can survive a moment of doubt without outside proof. This shifts the conversation from surveillance to intimacy. Instead of demanding a location, you share a vulnerability. I notice I get anxious when I don't hear from you. It changes the definition of trust. Trust is a practice, not a final verdict you reach after gathering enough evidence. It is the 1,000 small choices to let the map stay closed. It is sitting with the unknown and discovering every time that you are still standing on the other side of it. Safety exists as an internal foundation. It is built through the quiet, recurring choice to trust your own ability to remain steady in the face of the unknown.